I have a confession. Up until very recently, I had never watched Regular Show. You know, Regular Show, the Cartoon Network series about two furries who work at a park with a gumball machine, a yeti, a ghost, and Muscle Man, where every episode is a pretty normal slice of life thing until about 3/4 of the way in, when everything devolves into a supernatural universe-threatening event. Yeah, that one. It's an absolute classic that, up until now, I had never actually seen. Well, that's not entirely true. Way back when this show premiered in 2010, I did catch a good handful of episodes in passing, but I just generally wasn't watching a ton of TV at the time. I was more into YouTube, so the show kind of passed me by. But the episodes I did catch back when I was a teenager, I did like. The show's setup and characters really stuck with me. Despite not being a super active watcher, I had all the main characters memorized. Mordecai, Rigby, Benson, Pop, Skips, Muscle Man, High Five Ghost. Heck, I even used to have this Regular Show poster up in my office back in the day. Yes, that does make me a poser. So yeah, clearly something about this show stuck with me. But even when I got back into cartoons a few years ago, I was way too busy with all those story-driven fantasy shows like Steven Universe and Gravity Falls. As a result, Regular Show was just one of those list shows, you know? The ones where you say, yeah, I'll get to that eventually, it's on my list. But at long last, I can finally say that I have finished Regular Show front to back, all 8 seasons, and the movie. And it was great. Totally understand why so many people latched onto this show and have amazing memories of it to this day. It's a really insane, surreal show with an incredibly unique sense of humor. But now I've watched all of it, every single last bit of it. The show's over, and you know what that means. I miss it. Yeah, you know how we do things around here. Whenever something I like ends, no, it didn't. And heck, the show's only been over for me for like a couple of days. For all the other fans, Regular Show's been gone since 2017. That's 5 years. Okay, yeah, this is long overdue. So today, I'm just gonna take a look at a bunch of Regular Show stuff to fill the void. It's time to live in denial. But first, I have to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Established Titles. Now, this is a fun one. Established Titles is a fun, novel gift package that also serves as a way to help preserve the Scottish woodland and aid global reforestation. Follow me on this. With Established Titles, you buy a small plot of land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland. And I mean small, like 1 square foot at least. And thanks to an old Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, that means you are granted the official title of Lord or Lady. You're then sent a real-life certificate with a unique plot number showing the exact location of your land, and, of course, your established title. This is the fun part. You get to choose your Lord or Lady title, and you can make it as silly or ye olde as you want. So you may now address me as Lord Fofington, and nothing less. But it's worth mentioning that while, yes, it is a fun gift, after, well, establishing your title, you can officially change your name to include the prefix Lord or Lady. So it could legit be on things like your credit card, plane ticket, dating profile, whatever. Flex that Lord or Ladyship as much as you want. And while all of that is fun, the best part is that with every purchase, Established Titles plants a tree in partnership with the charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to aid in global reforestation. So not only are you getting a fun, novel gift for yourself, for your friends and family, but you're also helping a good cause. So if all that sounds fun to you, be sure to check out Established Titles at the link in the description, or go to establishedtitles.com/ferret and use promo code ferret for 10% off. That's ferret, F-E-R-R-E-T. It makes for a pretty cool last minute gift. They're running an early Black Friday sale, and the first 200 people to purchase a title pack through my link will basically have their plots right by mine, like a few minutes of walking distance. So if enough people join up, we could form a little foafy kingdom, a kingdom built on denial. So again, that's establishedtitles.com/ferret and promo code ferret for 10% off your title pack. Check it out in the description below, the pinned comment, or here in this iCard in the top right corner of the screen. If you're watching on TV, just pretend there's a link up there. Thank you so much to Established Titles for sponsoring today's video, and now, back to Regular Show. And luckily, Regular Show was really popular, so we got quite a few options here. Usually, I like to start by checking out the toys. You know, most popular cartoons have a toy line. But a lot of these decade-old cartoon action figures tend to be shockingly expensive. Like $200 for a Funko Pop expensive. But the Regular Show toys were actually much more manageable. So no more just looking at pictures on the internet. This time around, we have some actual toys to check out for real. And I hate them. Here's the first thing I found. A set of 7 Toys R Us exclusive Regular Show minifigures. And right away, I'm kinda uncomfortable. Scrolling through eBay, I found like 3 or 4 different versions of this set with different boxes, the characters in different orders, and some that straight up looked bootleg. This was the most legit looking one that I can find, and it's okay. It covers all the main dudes, and they aren't that bad. I mean, Mordecai's legs are all wobbly, Pops looks like he's actively passing out, High Five Ghost might as well not be here, and Muscle Man should never be rendered in 3D. But overall, these are pretty good. Benson, Pops, Skips, they all look really faithful to the show. And even the box is full of the show's unique personality. But things quickly take a turn for the worse when we go one step up, with these 2 action figures of Mordecai and Rigby. Oh God! What happened to Rigby? Okay. So if you haven't guessed, the main selling point of these toys is that you can make them talk, I guess? There's buttons on the back of their heads that make their mouths move slightly, and that's literally it. And honestly, they barely even do that. I mean, look at Mordecai here. At this point, he might as well not do anything. This toy is so stringy and flimsy, too. You can barely get a grip on it to even press the button. And God, this Rigby toy. I get that they needed to, like, isolate the jaw or something in order to make it move, but, like, why are his gums exposed? It's like one of those collectible art figures of SpongeBob where all his insides are showing. Except that one's disturbing on purpose. The toys don't stand up, their actual function is dumb, they don't even match up scale-wise, these suck. In fact, these toys were so bad that they made a 2-part regular show TV special about it. This is real. It's all about Mordecai and Rigby refusing to sell out and have their likenesses made into crappy toys. Which, of course, leads to a giant robot fight in space, as you do. And I mean, look at this. They're not even being subtle. Even the creators of the show hate these toys. So, in terms of filling the void and pretending regular show isn't over, yeah, these aren't gonna cut it. Though, to be fair, that 2-part special does kind of make these a notable piece of regular show history. These things are canon to the show's lore, so I don't know. Maybe in retrospect they're cooler than I thought. But I still hate them. I actually did a whole deep dive into these toys and more over on my second channel, Foafy. So if for some reason you want a closer look at these things and a couple other pieces of decade-old regular show merch, you can head over there to check it out. There's gonna be a link at the end screen. So moving on, one step up from toys, let's talk video games. As you might expect, a cartoon as popular as regular show did get a video game way back in 2013. Mordecai and Rigby in 8-bit land for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, when you think game based on a cartoon, your expectations probably aren't that high. Probably imagining some janky cash grab, probably full of glitches or something. Let's be real, that's pretty fair. Most of these games are doo-doo. But there's one thing on this box that actually makes me feel pretty optimistic. I guess it's on the back of the box. There, right there. This game was developed by WayForward, and these guys are legit. These are the developers behind the Shantae series, but they also worked on a bunch of cool Adventure Time games and that awesome HD remaster of the DuckTales game. These guys are good, and they are all retro, which makes them a pretty perfect fit for regular show. That show is full of 80s stuff. 80s movie references, actual licensed 80s music, including a lot of songs and one-hit wonders that I never expected to hear on Cartoon Network of all places. What kid in 2010 knew Lies by Thompson Twins? Well, me. I watched a lot of VH1 Classic back in the day. And of course, the show had tons of 80s gaming references. I mean, these dudes played a Sega Master System in almost every episode. So naturally, Mordecai and Rigby in 8-bit land is a full-on retro side-scroller. Mordecai and Rigby are randomly sent a new video game system, they get literally sucked into the game, go! And right away, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. The graphics are sharp, and the music is great. It was actually composed by the guy who did the music for Shovel Knight, and you can tell instantly. And then there's the gameplay. Run, jump, that's it. You can swap between Mordecai and Rigby with the press of a button to utilize their different abilities. Mordecai can double jump, and Rigby can fit into tight spaces. But the weird thing is that neither of them can attack. And here's where the game gets really retro. From what I played, each level might have one checkpoint, so if you die before then, it's back to the beginning. You have lives, so if you run out of them, it's game over. And you die in one hit. That's it. I know that doesn't sound like super crazy or anything, but games generally aren't that strict anymore. I mean, even the really difficult games these days at least give you a health bar. The only defense you have in this game are these mullet power-ups. These give you, an actual attack. Mordecai throws super punches and Rigby shoots lasers or whatever, I wasn't paying attention. And they also grant you one extra hit. Just the one. Now, none of that is to say this game is brutal or anything. From what I played, it's still pretty simple. I'm just saying this is a lot more faithful to those old 80s games than you might think. Especially when I got to the first boss and... So yeah, pretty fun game. Well made, controls well, and a bit more challenged than you might expect. But here's the thing. I don't know if this would really fill the void for anyone missing regular show. At least, not totally. It definitely looks the part, and the opening cutscene is pretty on point, but from what I've played, that's mostly it in terms of recreating the regular show experience. And maybe that's enough. Like I said, it's a fun game. But ultimately, playing this made me reminisce more on other retro-style games than it did, well, regular show. Like, I feel like I'm playing the kind of game that Mordecai and Rigby would be playing in an episode of regular show, as opposed to playing through an episode of regular show. You know what I mean? So, you know, good game. Might play it more in the future, might make a video about it, but it's just not really hitting the spot for me right now. All right, then, what else is there? Oh, books. Those still exist, right? Yeah, what about regular show books? Well, no surprise, there's plenty. From what I can tell, they mostly tend to be like comic books and graphic novels, including a special release called Regular Show 25 Years Later. Oh wow, a full-fledged continuation of the story after the finale? That actually sounds perfect. Let's check it out and oh! You gotta be kidding, right? Why is this comic book so expensive? This thing was only released like 3 years ago, and you're telling me it costs over $200? That can't be right. Oh! Okay. $1,400 for a 3-year-old graphic novel? Where are these prices coming from? So I guess we're not checking that book out today. Instead, we're just gonna look at, this one. Regular Show Volume 8. Why? I don't know, I have that one. This is a graphic novel from 2017, and it's just a fun, well-written regular show story. Exactly what you'd expect. Mordecai and Rigby rack up a huge electric bill from playing too many video games, so naturally, they buy a wind turbine to save on power. But the turbine spins so intensely that the ground lifts up, the gang gets flown off to a crystal castle in the sky, hijinks ensue. The art is fantastic, it really fits the vibe of the show while still kind of having its own style. The writing's on point, and it even works in the continuity of the show. It's basically a lost episode of regular show, except you have to do all the voices in your head. I am Skips. I can't think of anything else to say. Plus, in the back of the book, there's a bunch of shorter comics with even more stylized art, and a collection of amazing cover art. It's really cool. And there's tons more of these. At least 7 more. So, after all these years, if you're still missing regular show, check out the comics. As long as you don't have to sell an organ to afford it, Jesus Christ. But now I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. We've been looking at all this regular show stuff, trying to fill the void, but you know, maybe the best option here is completely outside the world of regular show. What if I told you the best way to pretend regular show isn't over is to watch another completely different cartoon? A little show called Close Enough. As I'm sure you can tell just looking at it, Close Enough is another cartoon from the creator of regular show, J.G. Quintel. And it's basically the same thing. I mean, the premise is exactly the same. Everyday slice of life stories take sharp turns into supernatural, life-threatening insanity. The usual. The art style is identical. Heck, J.G. Quintel even voices one of the main characters just like he did with Mordecai. Pretty much everything you loved about regular show is here, minus everyone being like animals and candy machines. But of course, the biggest thing setting this show apart is that Close Enough is not a family show. You thought regular show was edgy for saying, "You pissed me off." Well, just the first few episodes of Close Enough blow that out of the water with drugs, alcohol, blood, basically everything you can't do on Cartoon Network, which makes it really weird to still see that Cartoon Network logo pop up at the end. Originally, Close Enough was gonna premiere on TBS, but after some bumps in the road and delays in production, it instead became an HBO Max original and ran for a solid 3 seasons between 2020 and 2022 before unfortunately getting canceled earlier this year. So honestly, if you miss regular show and you're old enough to watch a show with like bad words, then just check out Close Enough. It's basically regular show, but for people with back pain. So yeah, check it out. It's on HBO Max. What's that? It's not there anymore? The exclusive HBO Max original series Close Enough got pulled from HBO Max, along with many other cartoons including Infinity Train and OKKO. And they aren't just removing them from the streaming service, they're attempting to scrub all existence of them off the entire internet for some kind of financial benefit. And all of this happened 2 months ago, and it's astonishing that I'm only hearing about it now? Huh. Well, I guess there's always the toys.